All praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a lesson on the seed of Abraham. But I'm going to be speaking not even necessarily about the seed of the promise, right? I'm going to be talking about or referring to all of the seed of Abraham, as in all the people that can claim to be a descendant of Abraham, right? And showing that even though they can technically claim to be from Abraham, they are not all going to receive the same thing. This is Genesis chapter 12 and verse 1. Now Yahweh said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing, and I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Now, which nationality of people is it that people say that this is going to be fulfilled with? Is it not the Israelites, right? Is it not the Israelites that's going to be as the sand of the sea? Is it not the Israelites that have been destined to rule the earth and to bring peace on the earth? And according to the Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, are going to make the world beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, where nations not going to lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore, where the nations are going to go to the God of Jacob to learn of their ways and to walk in their paths. That's prophesied for the Israelites. And for people that might have not seen that before or heard that before, I'll read it. Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 2, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we'll walk in his paths. The God of Jacob is going to allow the Israelites to be able to have the ability to do that, right? And he will teach us of his ways, and we'll walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, not out of Mount Seir, right? Not out of the land of Moab, out of Zion. Zion is always referring to the Israelites. Shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. Jerusalem's the capital of the Israelites. Now, there's many other people that descend from Abraham, but their capital is not mentioned in here. It's the capital of the Israelites that's mentioned. Verse 4, and he shall judge among the nations and to rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. O house of Jacob, come ye, and let us walk in the light of the Lord. And why is it saying that? Because these are the things we've been promised. We should walk in the light of the Lord because we're going to have the ability to rule the earth, man. We ain't going to have to be clocking in, clocking out. And if we don't clock in, then there's a risk that we're going to have our pay jammed up and that. You know what I mean? We ain't going to have to worry about doing overtime. The heathen are going to have to worry about doing overtime for us. Yeah, they're going to have to worry about whether we're going to deal with them fairly, which we will deal with them fairly, as long as they keep the law. Now, there's a lot of backdated, and I got to just sing it real out here. There's a lot of backdated punishment that has to be enacted out on you heathens, man. So that has to get done first. There's a thousand years of backdated punishment that all you heathen have yet to pay the bill for, especially Esau. After that debt is paid, then it's going to be, as brothers like to say, then it's going to be as a pay-as-you-go scheme, you know what I mean? If you pay your bill, there won't be no problems, right? If you don't start nothing, there won't be nothing. That's how it's going to be. Just like how it supposedly is for us in this world, right? If we just maneuver and we don't upset and go against anything, supposedly it's supposed to go all right with us, but that's not how it really works, though. It don't really matter what we do in this world. They're always trying to find a way to take our portion, man. And that's why the Bible says, don't let every man into your house, because of deceit for man have many trains. Now, let me go back to the book of Genesis, the 15th chapter now, where Abraham is told about the blessing that he's going to receive, and he speaks about it further. Genesis chapter 15 and verse 1. After these things, the word of Yahweh came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord Yahweh, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus. And Abram said, Behold, thou hast given me no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. So Abraham was looking for a seed. So how would Abraham feel right now, yeah, knowing that people that are not his actual seed right? People that don't even come from Abraham by any of his 8 sons. How would Abraham feel knowing that everyone's trying to get that now? When him and God, not me and you, him and God, him and Yahweh, personally had a conversation where God was telling him, your seed's going to be given this. How would Abraham feel right now to know that y'all are trying to steal from him? You know what I mean? You're talking as father Abraham had many sons, many sons had father Abraham. For a lot of you nations that come from Shem, that come from, that for a lot of you nations that even come from Shem, definitely Ham and definitely Japheth, Abraham has got nothing to do with you in any way, shape, or form. You don't even come from Ishmael, right? You don't come from Jacob. You don't come from Jokshan, Medan, Ishbak, Shua, Midian. You don't come from none of those. You don't come from even Edom. And he definitely is not he's definitely not counted as the seed. But you don't even come from an actual descendant of Abraham. You're trying to make out like Abraham's promises go to you in any way. I can at least understand why a nation that could say that Abraham's in their lineage would believe that it goes to them. But even they're wrong. It's only going to the Israelites. Verse 4, and behold, the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying that this shall not be thine heir. So this Eliezer of Damascus, he weren't the heir. Who was the heir? Was it Ishmael? Was it Isaac? Or was it one of Abraham's other 6 sons? Was it one of Abraham's other 8 sons? Right? This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look toward heaven and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. And is that not how the Israelites are counted as being? Is that not a particular Bible verses, prophecies that say that the Israelites should be as the sands of the sea, that the Israelites should be innumerable for multitude? Now you can say that to every other nation if you want to say that, but the prophecies speak about the Israelites being that. Verse 6, and he believed in Yahweh, and he counted it to him for righteousness. Now let's jump down. Verse 13, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Now, did every single person that descends from Abraham go through this? No. The Edomites didn't go through this. The Edomites was in Mount Seir in the land of Edom when all this stuff was taking place. And when the Israelites escaped from this, the Edomites was one of the nations that tried to stop the Israelites going through the south up to the north into the land of Israel. They actually said, if you try and come this way, we're going to come up against you with the sword. Did the Ishmaelites go through this? No. The Ishmaelites was a part of the way how the Israelites ended up in the land to go through that captivity, because they sold Joseph into slavery, right? After getting sold, after buying him and purchasing him from the 12 tribes of Israel, after they betrayed Joseph, which was all part of God's plan to get the Israelites into the land. But they did not take part in this. They didn't go. It wasn't just every single descendant of Abraham like, man, we're catching hell in these 400 years. It wasn't Jacob and Esau there, right? It wasn't the Edomites, the Ishmaelites there, the Israelites there, all the descendants of the other six sons. They wasn't all there in captivity for 400 years. No, it was just the Israelites. So how everyone being counted as a seed of Abraham came about is ridiculous. Because even the actual people that can say that they are one of Abraham's descendants, they didn't even all go through the same things as the Israelites. They didn't have a covenant with Yahweh where they ended up getting blessings for keeping the law, or curses for breaking the law. That never happened for them. Verse 14, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance. So when you read this, you understand that the captivity of the Israelites was predestinated. It was predestined. It was fate. It was destiny. It was foreordained. It was prophecy. It did not take place because of free will, right? It took place because we do not have free will, right? You understand that the captivity that took place was all part of God's plan, Yahweh's plan. And you understand from verse 14, so was the judgment also part of God's plan, right? Verse 15, and thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation, they shall come hither, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. So you're also learning that the people that was inhabiting the land that Abraham was told his descendants were going to receive, they was also going to get judged too. Their iniquity was not even yet full. God was already seeing, man, these people are going off up in this land, and I'm about to spew them out and give it to the real people that I prophesied for this land to be for. And even all of that was prophecy. Even all of that was free will. And that's why when the Israelites entered into the land, they was told, don't worry about how these people that you saw me kick out of this land were living, because they got kicked out of the land because they was living this way. Don't follow the way of the Egyptians that you used to be around, and don't follow the way of these Canaanites neither. Don't be doing all these things that it says in Leviticus 18, Leviticus 20, because the people that just got kicked out of this land, that you witnessed get kicked out of the land so that you can be there, these things happened to them and they got kicked out of that land for like that because they were doing all of these things. So you don't do them. That's not the way to live. I've gave you the ways that lead to everlasting life. Now, did God give every nation the ways that lead to everlasting life? No, he didn't. Right? Now, let's go here. Genesis chapter 17 and verse 1. And when Abram was 90 years old, and when Abram was 90 years old and 99 years old, Yahweh appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty power. Walk before me and be thou perfect, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and Yahweh talked with him, saying, As for me, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Now, was Abraham a father of many nations? Yes. But was every single nation that Abraham was technically a father of blessed? No. Now, this part of Abraham being a father of many nations, the Israelites alone are a nation within a nation, right? And you know what? I'm going to put that in there if my mind makes me remember where I'm talking about correctly. Genesis, let me just type in Gen 35 and 11. 35, 11 to like verse 13. And I'll read that quickly, right? Because the Israelites are spoken of as being a nation within a nation. Yet people want to try and come with whatever they're coming with to try and slide other nations into their no, man. It's just not for them. Genesis chapter 35 and verse 11. In fact, in verse 10. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called Jacob any more, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am Yahweh Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee. Now, when Abram was told he's going to be a father of many nations, it's still true that he's the father of Ishmael and all of these other nations. And you have even a term in the world, Abrahamic religions, right? But the nation that is relevant in this prophecy are the Israelites, because they are a nation within a nation. That every single individual Israelite male is one day going to be a large, strong nation. Right now, if a man's got, like, people look at Nick Cannon and be like, man, Nick Cannon's got bare children, you know. He's got about 12. That's not really that much. And even some of us, we might have even less. A man that might, let's say he's got 5, 1, 2, or 3 children, 1 child. That's a weak nation. That's you and your 1 or 2, 3, 4 children. And even if a man had 100 children right now, that's not really a strong nation. A strong nation is when a whole country or landmass or a whole town could be filled, or a whole village could be filled with people that all descend from you. That's when you start to become a strong nation, like the prophecies say. And a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave to Abraham and Isaac and to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. So even in there, the land of Israel is not for every single descendant of Abraham. It was always prophesied to go to the Israelites. Yet there's many other people that can say they come from Abraham. They can say, oh, Abraham is my father in an earthly way, I guess. But that's got nothing to do with what Abraham was promised. Ishmael was literally told, basically, well, not literally. He was pretty much told, because he laughed at Sarah breastfeeding Isaac. He laughed. And I guess it technically would be funny and a bit strange to see a like 90-plus-year-old woman, or however old she was, like a woman that's like very, very old, breastfeeding a young baby that's like days, hours old. That would be funny. It would be strange. You'd be like, you kind of be gross. You know what I mean? You'd be like, I don't want to see that. It kind of would be funny. But because he did that, he was told basically, move, man. Go away. You and your mom, kick rocks. But don't worry, you're going to be blessed or you'll be all right. But you ain't the people that I'm giving it to. Like, you ain't the people that God said that all of these things are going to. I asked for it to be for you. But God said, nah. God said it's going to go to someone else. So Ishmael can't say, oh, God never asked for it. And I'm going to quickly go to that. God said, yeah, let it go with Ishmael, but Yahweh had other plans though. Genesis chapter 17 and verse 18. And Abraham said unto Yahweh, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. So Abraham wanted it to be for Ishmael, but Yahweh didn't want it to be, right? So what are we learning when we read this? It's about God's choice. Why did God choose Abraham when his name was still Abram instead of choosing his brothers Nahor and Haran? Because he wanted to. You think if God didn't come and say to anyone else on the earth that they might have believed, they might have done. We will never know, right? We'll never know if somebody else might have believed, but we know this. Yahweh made Abram, and Abram believed. So he's the one that's going to. Then he made Abraham through his loins, Isaac be born. And then through Isaac's loins, Jacob and Esau were born. And Esau, it says in the scriptures, was loved more by Isaac. Yet Yahweh chose, right? Yahweh, he chose Jacob. Never mind what Isaac wanted. Yahweh wanted it to be Jacob. So that's who it's for. Abraham wanted it to be Ishmael, but Yahweh wanted it to be Isaac. Isaac loved Esau more, but Yahweh loved Jacob. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Right? It was never about men's choice on this earth. Never has been, never will be. We're only Israelites because Yahweh wanted this to be. And we're going to receive a beautiful thing because of that. We're going to receive the best possible things it's possible to receive on the earth. And who would care? Who's going to care if something's not fair and they receive it, even though it's not fair, unless you've got some problems in your mind where you're just shucking and jiving, tap dancing around here. I ain't going to be tap dancing in front of you heathens, hoping that you get something better than me. I want the better things. I want to be over you, just like how you want to be over me, but pretending at the same time that we're equal. We're not equal, man. Yahweh made us better than you. And if you don't believe it now, you will be once we're under the new covenant. Verse 18, and Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And Yahweh said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. So Ishmael was already born. It's like, nah, he's going to a son that don't even exist yet, that you're going to call Isaac. So it wasn't even free will on the name he was going to be able to call him. No, you're going to call him Isaac. And the reason why he was going to be called Isaac is because when Abraham found out that Sarah was pregnant, what did he do? Now Sarah laughed, but he was called Isaac, which means he laughed, Yatazakak, right? Yah, he, Tazakak, meaning laughter or laughed. He was called Yatazakak, right? Because when he heard that Sarah was pregnant, he laughed. He laughed. That's what the name means, man. And that was all part of the plan too. So all this free will stuff, all this Israelites believe in works-based salvation. No, we believe that salvation is predestined, but the works are also predestined that those that are going to receive salvation are going to do. So therefore it's not of works, lest any man should boast, yet the works exist that were predestined to be done. That's what we believe. You people don't need to tell us what we believe. We can explain it for you, right? We don't need you to tell us what we believe. We already can explain it good enough ourselves, man. Right now, it goes on to say, as for Ishmael, so this is, okay, let me carry on reading. And I will establish my covenant with him, verse 19, the last part. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant and with his seed after him. So there was no chance that, if Isaac passes away, then it can go on to Ishmael. No. Yahweh knew that he was going to give Isaac a seed after him too. And who was that? Because we know that Isaac technically had two different sons, Jacob and Esau. But which son did it go to? It went to Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. It didn't go to everyone. Verse 20, as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful. Oh, he's going to have his descendants and all that. He's going to exist. He ain't going to be exterminated like Esau or Obadiah. Obadiah never had a second prophecy saying that, yeah, and Ishmael's going to get it too. After we're done with after Esau's been a fire and a flame and a stubble, yeah, then we're going to find Ishmael as well and do him over. No, that's not in there. It just speaks about Esau getting that punishment. Esau's the only nation that's going to not exist no more. Every other nation's going to be around. So don't worry if you're not an Israelite. Okay, it might be sad for you, but don't worry. You're going to live a lot longer under our kingdom anyway. You might reach 200 years. And let's just say that even if he was to beat old man Methuselah, yeah, if he was able to get 969 years old through the way you live, okay, that would be excellent for you. But us as Israelites, we'll be like, man, he's young, man. He's a little youth to me, fam. You know what I mean? Oh, he's a little youth. He's a little minor. Oh, how old are you? 900 years. Okay, and I'm at 2 billion years old, man. You can't tell me nothing. I've been that age. I remember when I was that age way back. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember being that young. You know what I mean? That's going to be a little youth to an Israelite, man. That's going to be insignificant in time frame, 900 years. Oh, you're 900. Oh, yeah, you're still young, man. You know, oh, someone says they're 500 years old. Oh, yeah, you're still young. You've got your rest of your life in front of you. You know what I mean? That ain't going to be nothing. That's nothing, man. Anyway, back to this, verse 21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, not with every one of his descendants, with Isaac, right? Which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. So Abraham after this had other sons outside of Isaac, right? Let's read about them. Genesis chapter 25 and verse 2. And she, in fact, verse 1. Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran and Jokshan and Medan and Midian and Ishbak and Shua. Now, did any of these get the covenant? No, they didn't, right? No, they did not get the covenant, man. They didn't, right? It's just true that they never got the covenant. Now, if we're lying, you can say, yeah, they got the covenant as well. Now, if we're telling the truth, though, then we have to say, no, they didn't get it, right? But if you want to lie, then a lot of things in Christianity make sense, right? But if we're telling the truth, then a lot of things don't make sense. Everybody never got the covenant. If we're telling the truth, that's the facts. If we're lying, then everyone received the law, yet only Israelites had to keep it. If we're lying, then all these men that are called black in the world, that skin's brown, they're really black, even though their skin's brown. If we're telling the truth, their skin's brown, and they should not be getting called black. They should be getting called Israelites from each of whatever their tribe is, as should the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans of the earth, and anyone that's a descendant of them paternally, meaning on their father's side. Now, if we're telling the truth, that's how it should run. If we're telling the truth, everybody should know their biblical nationality. But there's a reason why the biblical nationality thing is not even pushed no more on the earth, because they know that everybody does not have the same destiny, right? Everyone's not predestinated. Everyone's not foreordained. Everyone doesn't have the same fate to receive the same things. And there's a whole group of people on the earth called the Edomites that God hates. And that's why the whole nationality thing is not pushed on earth. That people don't want people to know what their real nationality is. Because then if everyone knew who an Edomite was, could prove for facts every single person that's an Edomite because they're boasting in their lineage, people would hate them. They'd want to stay away from them because they know that they've been destined to be destroyed by Yahweh. They'd know now because that message has been put out there. Exodus chapter 24 and verse 4. And Moses wrote all the words of Yahweh and rose up early in the morning and builded an altar under the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, what about the tribes of all the other descendants of Abraham? Did they get a pillar made for them? No, they didn't. What about when you go to the prophecy of the kingdom of heaven? Is there any gate for any heathen in there? No, there isn't. Now, people can say spiritually what they want to say. They could even, if we're lying, you could say, yeah, in Exodus 24, these are the spirit. Moses didn't know that back then, but these were the spiritual tribes of Israel back then even. You can say that if you want to lie. But if we're telling the truth, these were the literal descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. Not no spiritually, nothing, none of that. Literal. And when it comes to the whole spiritual Israel thing anyway, Can an Israelite be spiritual? Can an Israelite be spiritually Israel and literally Israel at the same time? Yes, they can. So if that's true, what's the need for anyone else to be spiritual Israel? There isn't one. Yeah, there ain't no need. When it speaks about Israel of God in the book of Galatians, the 6th chapter, they're called the Israel of God. They're not called the Gentiles of God. They're called the Israel of God, because there's an Israel of Yahweh and there's an Israel, as I heard a brother say, one of the elders, there's an Israel of Yahweh and there's an Israel that's of their father, the devil. Yeah, as I heard one of the elders in the London camp say, man, there's an Israel of Yahweh and there's an Israel of their father, the devil, man. Yeah, and that's facts. And there's always been that in every single generation, really. There's always been the seed, the remnant, right? Except Yahweh have left us a remnant, would have been like Sodom, and would have been like Gomorrah. There's always been a remnant among Israel. And then it's always been a group of Israelites that are just going off, that don't have the faith, that don't even want the mercy because they don't believe they're doing nothing wrong, that want to put the prophets in stocks. They want to beat the prophets. They want to chew on them, bite them. They want to throw prophets. They want to throw their own Messiah off a cliff headlong after he reads to them, I believe it's Isaiah 6. After he read to them Isaiah 61. They wanted to throw him off a cliff when he said, this day, this prophecy has been fulfilled in your ears. Verse 5. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, not young men of the children. Where are the children of Edom at? Everyone likes to always mention, yeah, there was a mixed multitude in them times. There was a mixed multitude. Well, did he send young men of them to go and do the burnt offerings and sacrifice peace offerings of oxen? Did any of the other, does it say in there? Forget me and you. Does it say in here? Yeah? Does it say, and he sent young men of the children of Israel and all the other descendants of Abraham? No, it don't say that. Right? Which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto Yahweh. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the ordinance of the people. And they said, all that Yahweh said we will do, and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which I have made with you concerning all these words. Not everyone, not every single person that came from Abraham went through this. They just didn't. Did every single person that came through Abraham have to go through the blessings and the curse? Was they prophesied to have to go through the blessing and the curse? Does the book of Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, say that after the Israelites have gone through the blessing and the curse, that then they're going to return and repent? And then they're going to have their hearts and their minds circumcised, and then all their enemies that hated and persecuted them are going to go through the curses? Or does it say that everyone's just going to be holding hands, making a circle of love that fills the earth? It don't say that. It says the former thing, not the latter, man. But if we're lying, then we can make the Bible say anything we want to say. You know, as you Christians like to come with, if we're twisting it, then let's twist away. But if we're singing it real out here, then you've got to say what the Bible says, not what your vain heart, that's wicked and deceitful above all things, says, right? Now, when we go to Jeremiah 31, which Israelites, we go to this scripture all the time, man. We love this chapter. Christians, not so much, because it lets a lie that they've told be exposed that it's a lie. But I'll read straight to the point anyway. Jeremiah 31 and verse 33. But this shall be the covenant that I make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I'll put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. So it's clear, and you know that the new covenant is only going to be for the Israelites. Verse 31, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I'll make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. It's clear that the new covenant is with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Now, a Christian can say, oh, that's talking about spiritual Israel. Okay, if we're lying, then let's go with that lie. How does a Gentile, any non-Israelite person, be of the house of Israel instead of the house of Judah? What decides that? We know how it goes for literal Israelites. Literal Israel would fit in Judah, Benjamin, and Levi is house of Judah. Literal Israelites, every other tribe outside of the Judah, Benjamin, and Levi is house of Israel, and it's based around the split of the kingdom of Israel during the time of King Solomon. That's how we know and understand it for the real Israelites. But how do Christians try and slide in heathens in there, non-Israelites? How do they fit into the house of Judah versus the house of Israel? And if you don't have an answer, there's a reason for that, because what you're saying is not true. If you start saying, oh, well, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one, mate. Well, that's because you're lying. Yeah, that's because you decided to tell a lie, but you can't tell lies continually with the Bible, because eventually there's going to be a verse in there or a prophecy in there that's going to expose what you're saying is not true, because that prophecy will have not have been fulfilled, even though you've staged an event trying to make it look like a prophecy was fulfilled. Oh, the Israelites have returned back to the land, 1948. Okay, explain why there's no peace on the earth. Explain why the land of Israel is not as the Garden of Eden. Explain why there's still wars. Explain why they're not keeping all of God's laws like the scriptures say. Explain why they're not peaceful, even finding peace and safety in the land like the scriptures say. Explain why they ain't under the new covenant. Explain why they're not teaching us God's ways and God's laws. Explain these things. Explain why the second coming of the Messiah has not taken place. Explain how you supposedly return to the land for the final time and the last time, yet you don't even believe that the Messiah came the first time around. Explain these lies. Can they explain them? No, they can't, because they lied initially and then had to try and come with loads of other lies, but prophecy proves lies to be wrong. Simple as that. Simple as that, man. Now, let me go Psalm 105 and quickly show some more things, because when you speak about Abraham, yeah, people like to try and make it like just Abraham's everyone's dad, man. Like, if it was right now, Abraham would be a cool guy, right? In these modern times, everyone would be a guy that just everyone loves. So people are disowning their own dad. Like, oh man, I wish Abraham was my dad. He's got so much things that he's gonna give his descendant. Mate, Abraham ain't your dad. Abraham's got his own. Let me say it like a Benjamite, man. Yo, Abraham's got his own picnic. You know what I mean? Your picnic them ain't got nothing to do with his. You better take care of your own children. All you other descendants, you better worry about what's going on with what your forefathers have left you. And even you other descendants that can claim Abraham as your forefather, it's not even for y'all. Psalm 105 and verse 6. O ye seed of Abraham, his servant, you children of Jacob, his chosen. Not everyone's really the seed of Abraham. He is Yahweh, our power. His judgments are in all the earth. He hath remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he made with Abraham. Now remember, Abraham had 8 sons, and his oath unto Isaac. Of the 8 sons it went unto Isaac. Verse 10, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for everlasting covenant. So there we see the lineage of the promised man. Abraham, then the oath to Isaac, confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for everlasting covenant. An everlasting covenant means it won't be broken. What is the everlasting covenant? It's the new covenant. The covenant that you speak and read about in Jeremiah 31, verse 31 to verse 34, that you also read about in Hebrews, the 8th chapter, 8th verse to the 10th verse. In fact, really to like the 12th verse. The same covenant that you can read about without it necessarily using the word covenant in Jeremiah 30. No, it does use the word covenant in Jeremiah 32, but it also mentioned it in Ezekiel 36. It mentions it in Ezekiel 37. It mentions it in Deuteronomy 30. It mentions it even more places than that. It's not ever been prophesied to be for everyone. That's the everlasting covenant. It can't be broken because the Israelites will never be able to break the laws again under it. As I read it in Jeremiah 31 and Hebrews, I don't even think I read it in Hebrews, the 8th chapter, but it says the same thing in Hebrews, the 8th chapter if you read it. Right now, I think I can end the lesson there, man, because the topic of Abraham, in fact, you know what, I'll go one more place where it speaks about the whole Abraham thing. Romans chapter 9 and let's go start from verse 6. In fact, now I'll start from verse 1. Romans chapter 9 and verse 1. I say the truth in the Mashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bear me witness in the Holy Spirit, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart, for I could wish that myself were accursed from a Mashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law. Not everyone. The Israelite descendants from Abraham, not the Ishmaelite descendants, not the Edomite ones, not any of the Jokshan. I don't even really remember their names that much like that because they're not as relevant as the Israelites, right? Everybody can mention the tribes of Israel. Not too many people can mention all the different tribes or all the different dukes that came from Edom. And Edom's the second most popular nation, second most relevant nation in the Bible. It's all about Jacob and Esau in this earth, really. The whole thing that's going on this earth is all about what Jacob or Esau are doing. Just like how in this world, the main thing that's really going on, the main people that people are all up in our business is the so-called white man, who are the Edomites, and the so-called black man, Latino man, and Native American man, who are the real Israelites. And that's why even in the lockdowns, they was pushing all on the news, Negro, Latino, and Native American need to take this thing. They kept saying it, man. That whole group of people together, they said it continuously. Verse 5, whose are the fathers and whom have, verse 4 again, and the servants of God and the promises, whose are the fathers and of whom as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who is over all, Yahweh blessed forever, amen. Not as though the word of Yahweh have taken none effect, for they are not all Israel, which are of Israel. Now, it goes on further in the scripture to explain what that even means. Verse 7, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So what's that saying? Within the descendants of Abraham, right, there was something within there that was special. It was Isaac, right? Within the descendants of Israel, there's something that's special. What is that? The elect to the nation of Israel, right? So not all of them that are technically from Israel are going to receive that right now. But we know, or we believe, right, that every single member of the descendants of Israel is going to ultimately be saved. Now, time's going to show if we're telling the truth, isn't it? In the kingdom, when them Israelites that didn't believe now get reincarnated in the past, if that happens, we were telling the truth. People can say we're wrong about it all they want. Time's going to show who's telling the truth. People can say salvation's for everybody all they want to say. Time's going to show who's telling the truth or not. Time proves, right? Men can say whatever they want to say. Time proves who's telling the truth, man. Because time allows for prophecy to take place. Verse 7, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children. Ishmael ain't children, right? But in Isaac shall thy seed be called. That is, they which are the children of the flesh are not the children of God, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. So if you ain't the child of the promise, you ain't accounted for the seed. Now, I just read in verse 4 who the children of the promise are. If you ain't a child of the promise, you ain't accounted. Whenever it's talking about the seed of Abraham, it ain't talking about you, right? Just like how if a man says, I've got a favorite son, right? And he knows his favorite son's name. Or if he said, I've got a favorite child, and he knows the favorite child's name, when he says, my favorite, everyone ain't the favorite. Just like how everyone that's a descendant of Abraham ain't the children of the promise. So when it's talking about the children of the promise, that's who it's also talking about when it's talking about the seed of Abraham. What's so hard to understand that? If us low IQ savage blacks, as you want to call us, can understand this, why can't you high IQ, lily white, delicate angel flowers as you perceive yourself to be, why can't you understand it? The seed of Abraham are also the children of the promise. The children of the promise are the Israelites. So when it's talking about the seed of Abraham, it's also talking about the children of the promise. The children of the promise are the Israelites. So saying children of the promise is just another way in the Bible to say the Israelites. And the real children of the promise are Israelites that believe in all the prophecies, all the things that Yahweh made them supposed to have a chance to believe in, including the Messiah, Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls that Jesus word, which I don't like saying no more, man. Right? Verse 8, that is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God. These are not the children of God, just because they're the children of the flesh from Abraham. But the children of the promise are counted for the seed. For this is the word of promise. For this, and so it even goes into it. For this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. Who was Sarah's son? Was it not Isaac? And not only this, so not only that situation, but this one as well. And not only this, when Rebecca also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, letting it know that the book of Romans is talking about Israelites. The people in the book of Romans that are being spoken to are Israelites that have Isaac as their father. Even by our father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good. You know what? I'm going to put that in there. People in book of Romans were Israelites. And the proof is right there. They're saying that therefore, even of our father Isaac. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, according to God's choice might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. But isn't Esau a descendant of Abraham? In the flesh at least? Yeah, but he's hated. Now, isn't Ishmael also a flesh of Abraham? Right? Ishmael and Esau are also flesh of Abraham according to, seed of Abraham according to the flesh, right? But Esau's hated. Ishmael's not hated. Ishmael's just considered as nothing, right? He ain't hated or loved. He's just in the neutral zone, meaning that he gets to live on earth and be able to exist on earth as long as he blesses the Israelites while he's on here. Whereas Esau, he ain't never gonna bless the Israelites. He's always gonna think that he's supposed to get these things that we are supposed to get. And that's why he's gonna be destroyed. But really, even before he even did anything good or bad, according to what we're reading in Romans 9:11, that was always gonna happen to him. Verse 14, what will they say then? Is that righteousness with God? God forbid. So God said, you can't try and call him unrighteous. Who are you to try and question him? You can't question him on nothing. Right? Now, I made my point for what I believe, right? And for what Israelites we believe. And that's the end of it. You can say whatever you want to say. Go ahead. But this is the truth of the matter though. And on that, I'm going to end the video. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. Shalom.